Bible choice.
One of the pilots saw a big fireball in the sky. I'm just calling out, Spike, you there?
In the skies over Iraq 12 years ago, an American pilot goes missing.
What happened to my brother? Answer that question.
And in the streets of Baghdad,
scene of confusion, body parts lying around.
One reporter's diary of war and upheaval.
55 years of hatred and rage.
And the city now, as a lowly member of Saddam's regime, confesses. Tonight, war stories, untold tales from America's long and bitter conflict with Iraq.
From ABC News. This is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Chris Bury.
Just across the Potomac at Arlington National Cemetery, the tomb of the unknown soldier represents a painful aspect of any war, those men and women whose fates are never resolved. After all, questions about those listed as missing or POW during Vietnam burned for decades after the war. But in Iraq, the fates of only 2 soldiers are still unknown now that the Pentagon has changed the status of Air Force Captain Eric Das from missing to killed in action. His F-15 went down nearly 2 weeks ago near Tikrit. His co-pilot, Air Force Major William Watkins, is still listed as missing. The only other American remaining in that category is Army Sergeant Edward Anguiano, a mechanic ambushed with his ill-fated 507th Maintenance Company. 5 of his fellow soldiers from that company and 2 Army helicopter pilots were the last known POWs before their rescue on Sunday. Today, those 7 were all smiles, waving from the balcony of a U.S. military hospital in Landstuhl, Germany. They hoisted their wounded colleague, Specialist Shoshana Johnson, in her wheelchair. By tomorrow at this time, they are scheduled to be back at their home bases in Texas. So the status of nearly every American who fought in Iraq has now been resolved. But one mystery lingers from the first Gulf War, the case of Navy pilot Scott Spiker.
I just want a straight answer. What happened to my brother? Just simple and plain. Answer that question.
I'm Scott Spiker of VFA 81 out here on the Saratoga.
Cheryl Long is the sister of Scott Spiker, the first pilot shot down over Iraq in the Gulf War in January 1991.
All around, he was a fantastic pilot.
Like Spiker, Barry Hull was in an elite squadron of fighter pilots that flew against Iraq on the opening night of Operation Desert Storm. Their dangerous mission to knock out Iraqi air defenses west of Baghdad.
One of the pilots saw a big fireball in the sky, and we thought maybe that was Spike. I'm just calling out, Spike, this is Skull. Check in, how copy? Spike, you there? Spike, what's going on?
Spiker never answered because it turned out his plane had been hit by enemy fire. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney and General Colin Powell reported the loss.
A wound or a death?
A death.
I was told that his plane blew up in the sky. I had no reason to doubt that he was gone. My brother was gone. It was over. I was never going to see him again.
But fellow pilot Barry Hull says that even if Spiker's plane had been hit, there was still a chance he could have ejected safely.
I specifically remember thinking that Spiker is in the desert, he's angry, he's got sand in his boots, and he's evading capture. But I clung to the thought that he was alive.
But there was never any rescue attempt for Scott Spiker because he did not radio for help, and the military assumed that he'd been killed when his jet blew up. Even so, Barry Hull says a search and rescue team still should have been sent.
The bottom line is this: if you go down, no matter what, they're supposed to come get you.
When Operation Desert Storm was over and the American POWs released, Pentagon officials never asked the Iraqis for Scott Spiker. He was officially listed as killed in action, no body recovered, and was given a headstone memorial in Arlington National Cemetery. The Spiker case appeared to be closed until nearly 3 years later, in December of 1993, when an Army general from Qatar, while traveling across Iraq's western desert, came upon the site where Spiker's jet had crashed.
The significance of the crash site was that the evidence shows to a reasonable man that the pilot survived that ejection. The canopy was quite a distance from the airplane. We also found the black box, and that shows that he did eject inside the envelope. So to me, that says this guy survived the ejection.
In December 1995, nearly 5 years after his plane went down, the Iraqis finally allowed a Navy recovery team to inspect the crash site. When the Navy asked directly about Captain Spiker's whereabouts, a U.S. official says the Iraqis would only speculate that perhaps, while lost in the desert, he had been eaten by wolves. According to this newly unclassified Pentagon report, the American intelligence community concluded that, quote, Captain Spiker was either captured alive or his remains were recovered and taken to Baghdad.
I think he may very well be alive.
For the past several years, Senator Pat Roberts, chairman of the Intelligence Committee, has been studying classified information about Scott Spiker and has been pushing to find out if he may have survived.
He probably survived the crash. Not only did he survive the crash, but he probably was taken to Baghdad. Not only was he taken to Baghdad, he was probably treated. And we have a witness who saw him, who took him there.
The supposed witness is an unidentified Iraqi defector, according to Florida Senator Bill Nelson, who has been working with Senator Roberts on the Spiker case.
And this defector picked up an American pilot near the crash site, drove him to a site near a hospital, and subsequently was shown a series of photographs, and he picked out Scott's picture as the American pilot that he drove to that hospital.
Based on conflicting information over the years, the Navy has changed Scott Spiker's official status from killed in action to missing, and now missing or captured, which in effect is prisoner of war. And amid new and unconfirmed reports from Iraqi defectors that Spiker has been seen alive in the past several months, the CIA and Defense Intelligence Agency have set up a special team to investigate his case.
The obligation we have to Scott Spiker is to find out where he is. Whether he's dead or alive, we have an obligation to know.
The military's obligation to bring back its own has been made clear in the daring rescues of wounded soldier Jessica Lynch and the 7 American prisoners of war discovered Sunday north of Baghdad. And whether Captain Scott Spiker is dead or alive, fellow pilot Barry Hull believes his case has already helped to save the lives of other American men and women.
There's absolutely no doubt that now, if you go down, that the United States is going to come get you. We will never leave anyone behind again because of what happened to Scott Spiker.
When we come back, confessions of an Iraqi government official.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by MasterCard.
Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping. Home, where my music's playing. Home, where my love lies waiting silently.
The comforts of home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted at home stores everywhere.
Has anybody checked the interior?
Some of the finest leather I've ever seen.
Premium leather?
Rear seat DVD entertainment system.
Entertainment system?
And navigation.
Power rear door.
11 speaker Mark Levinson audio.
Mark Levinson audio?
It's a camera. It's a rear view camera.
Introducing the entirely new Lexus RX 330.
Oh!
Putting the world on nipples again.
The Stanley Cup.
Wow, so much history. Look at these engravings.
The NHL playoffs on ABC Saturday.
And the name Jim written in magic marker.
Hey folks, at Rivergate Toyota in Nashville, look, we understand that you work hard for your money. That's why we always uphold the highest ideals of honesty and integrity and fairness. In fact, at Rivergate Toyota, we promise to work hard for your automotive dollar so that you can continue to believe in us. And we'll always give you the absolute best value for your money. And this weekend only, you got 0% financing for 60 months on every new 2003 Toyota.
Under Saddam Hussein, journalists were not allowed to cover stories in Iraq without being escorted by the infamous government minders. Now that the regime is gone, Iraqis can speak freely again without fear of retribution. Correspondent Dan Harris sat down with his minder for a conversation that turned into a confession.
Upstairs, on the road.
Before the war, Man Araim was our government minder, assigned by Saddam Hussein's regime to monitor our every interview. In his presence, most encounters with Iraqis degenerated into pro-Saddam and anti-U.S. rants and chants.
We talk to people all the time who said,
Yes.
we're going to fight the Americans, kill the Americans.
Yes.
They were just lying?
Yes, of course. No, they was scared. They was afraid from. They can't say the truth. Believe me, they can't say the truth.
So they felt they had to say this?
Yes, of course, because they thought that I am from intelligence and I must. They said yes, we will fight. We will kill Americans.
What our interviewees did not know was that Man himself was a quiet dissenter.
Well, everybody we interviewed said, we love Saddam Hussein. Every time I talked to you,
yes,
you said, I hate Saddam Hussein.
Yes, I hate Saddam Hussein.
That was pretty brave.
With you only. I can't say to anybody, you know. I beg you, please don't say to anybody like that, because perhaps they will cut me in pieces like that, you know.
Today we went back to the looted and burned out information ministry where we used to work.
Very bad, really, our office.
Years ago, before he was a minder, Man was a senior official in the ministry. He was demoted, he says, because he wouldn't join the Ba'ath Party. We found a Saddam Hussein sticker in the rubble. Man clearly relished the ability to put on this display.
I feel very happy, really. I can't explain my feeling. Really, I am very happy. You can see on my eyes, I am very happy. I can't explain the matter to you. Not only I am, all the people here in Iraq. Now they can say the truth to you.
It is one of the most fascinating things about the post-Saddam Iraq, listening to people, especially people we knew before the war, exercise their newfound freedom of speech. Weeks before the war, we met this man, Firas Hashim, on the streets of Baghdad.
So, all of the people of Iraq are behind President Saddam Hussein, are with him.
Of course, he's our leader. Of course we are with him.
I can't. 2 days ago, we happened upon him again, waiting in front of a military intelligence headquarters for information on two uncles who disappeared in 1991.
You asked me about Saddam Hussein and his sons. I can't say anything about the truth, because the Iraqi intelligence around you, I can't say anything. But now I can say the truth. The truth that we are very happy because Saddam Hussein down.
Some of these post-war conversions are suspect. Shortly before the war, the information ministry officials decided that ABC News and Man Araim were too close, so they replaced Man as our government minder, replaced him with a younger and much more aggressive man by the name of Marwan. Marwan used to tell us that he loved Saddam Hussein. He even wore a watch with Saddam Hussein's picture on it. We ran into Marwan a couple of days ago. Now he's saying that, in fact, he hated Saddam Hussein all along. Yesterday, in the lobby of the Palestine Hotel, where all the American journalists are, I saw Marwan. your replacement.
Oh, Marwan, yes, I saw him.
You know what he said to me? He said, I hate Saddam Hussein.
Huh? He said like
He
that?
said that. When he tells me he hated Saddam Hussein and that he was lying before when he said he loved Saddam Hussein,
Yes.
is he lying now?
Of course he's lying. He wants to a job, you know. This
Man Araim, for one, seems genuinely overjoyed by the new Iraq.
You give us freedom. That's good to hear.
He seeks out soldiers and Marines to whom he can express his gratitude.
Every day. When I saw an American, I said to him, nice to meet you in Baghdad. How are you? My name is Mahand. Welcome. Nice to meet you. You give us freedom. You killed this Saddam Hussein. You destroyed his regime. Thank you very much. And to Mr. Bush and Blair.
Man is now working with ABC News once again. And someday soon, when the Iraqi Information Ministry is reformed, he says he hopes to get his old job back.
Yes.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in Baghdad.
Covering a war when your workspace is under fire. A war correspondent's personal journal when we return.
A few years ago, I get this pain. It's no big whoop, just a little heartburn. Yeah, a burning, piercing fireball right here. So, I cut down on the foods that bother me. I changed my diet. I worked out. Even my mom tries to help.
Son, try sleeping on an incline.
So, I slept on 2x4s on my bed. Oh yeah, my wife really loved that one. Then I started drinking that chalky stuff, popping acid reducers. It all helped, but the pain keeps coming back 2-3 days a week. Okay, finally visit my doctor. He says it's acid reflux disease and prescribes Prevacid to help prevent the acid and heal the damage. So I take it like he says, and guess what? It really helps stop the acid pain. How's that for a happy ending?
Prescription Prevacid actually helps prevent acid where it starts by turning off many of the pumps that produce it. Prevacid has a low occurrence of side effects such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Ask your doctor for more information and if Prevacid is right for you. Help prevent the acid with Prevacid.
Now at Sears, it's the last 3 days to look for our lowest prices of the season. All Craftsman is on sale. All shoes are on sale. And all dress wear is on sale. It's the last 3 days to look for our lowest prices of the season. Sears, where else?
Tell me about your dream.
I'm floating in water.
Can't you see we're adrift? We're lost. Ah, liquidity issues.
No, water. We're at sea.
We're rudderless. We need help. This is Bob's meeting, Beth.
Does anyone hear me? I feel lost. Adrift. I need help. What does it mean?
That you're lost, adrift, and need help.
It's a beautiful morning.
Ask your doctor today about Vioxx, a prescription medicine from Merck, and find out what Vioxx can do for you. Vioxx.
It's the most dangerous show on television.
Being an actor, I'm prone to drama.
Tonight, see co-host Deion Sanders, Jimmy Kimmel Live, coming up.
What if your child is too old for a car seat but too young for a seatbelt? It's a common problem. In fact, in kids age 4 through 8, 83% are not properly protected. That's why News 2 wants to give your child a boost. Now through April 27th, we're giving away a free booster seat during each Monday through Friday newscast. Watch News 2 this morning, plus News 2 at 4, 5, 6, and 10 for your chance to win. Give your child a boost from State Farm, the Governor's Highway Safety Office, and News 2.
iMasters asks, how much would you expect to pay for 2 complete pairs of eyeglasses? $200? $300? Not at iMasters, where you can get 2 pairs for just $99. Choose from hundreds of great-looking frames and get 2 complete pairs of glasses for just $99. And the second pair could be for you, a family member, or friend. Or get 1 complete pair of glasses, even prescription sunglasses, for just $79. Plus, a professional eye exam is only $39. No appointment necessary. Why pay more? Save at iMasters.
BBC correspondent Rage Omar was one of the few Western journalists to cover the war from Baghdad as the city was being bombed. You saw many of his reports here on Nightline. Here are portions of a personal journal he recorded in the few spare moments he wasn't reporting on the war.
American soldiers are fighting right in the heart. Baghdad is now subject to round-the-clock. People who are left here are getting out. Now, the explosion...
I've been reporting from Baghdad since the start of the war with Iraq, and sometimes you feel like you're at the center of the end of the world. And under these conditions, it's often hard to convey the gruesome reality of it all. It's 6 days after the start of the war, and we're facing not only bombs, but some of the most atrocious weather in Iraq's history. The city's going through its worst sandstorms in living memory.
It sways the city in this ochre color, this blanket of red dust. It's raining now. It's literally raining mud. It also happens to be an extremely busy news day. There's been a missile or a bomb that's exploded in a very densely populated residential area. I've just come back from there with 5-6 BBC colleagues, scene of confusion, body parts lying around. So we're having to file, but under very difficult conditions, and the bombing's going on at the same time, so we're actually going to go.
Nighttime, and Baghdad is plunged into darkness. There's no let-up in the nightly raids, and the bombs are getting uncomfortably close.
We're back on the balcony of our hotel because there was an explosion very near to our offices on the roof of the hotel.
You might think this destruction of their city would turn the Iraqi people against Western journalists like myself, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
People are very kind and very courteous, and they're also very, very civilized.
That's a bit close, yeah. Oh, look at that.
Saturday, March the 29th. It's the morning after another intensive bombing campaign by the coalition forces. Bloody hell.
Looks like they hit the ministry last night. We heard a massive explosion at about 2 in the morning. And I thought it had come from a building, another government building about half a mile away. It was quite hard to see through the dark exactly where the location was, but it was the ministry, which is where, of course, and the whole Western press corps in Baghdad is based. But they seem to have hit the top of the ministry. You can see the satellite dishes with sort of shrapnel marks.
Friday, April the 4th. As American forces move closer to Baghdad, my thoughts turn to what will happen to Iraq once the war is over.
It's the most Anglophile country in the Middle East, and it's going to be important that I think as many of us understand just who the Iraqi people are and what kind of people they are and their concerns and what motivates them.
Having reported this war for nearly 3 weeks, there have been so many rumours and counter-rumours and half-truths, but there's absolutely no doubt about the scenes we witnessed from the early hours of this morning. The battle for the presidential compound is just the other side of the Tigris River, I'd say less than half a mile away. If I step out of the picture, you'll get a sense of how close it is. Just there, where the plume of black smoke is an ammunition dump that's exploding. Just behind that plume of black smoke, you can clearly make out 2 American armored personnel carriers. They're still there, they're not going anywhere, and that's in the heart of Baghdad.
It was a ferocious day, heralded by the deafening roar of an A-10 tank buster swooping down on its target. A French television crew were filming this tank. The Americans say they were responding to sniper fire, but dozens of us were on the roof of the hotel and none of us heard any gunfire at all. We tried desperately to get medical help for our colleagues, but in these series of attacks, several journalists have been killed and wounded. The roar of American armor sounded the death knell for Saddam Hussein's grip on power.
American armor is moving at will across whole swathes of Baghdad. This is just one of the main avenues they're plowing down. People have come out welcoming them, holding up V signs. This is an image taking place across the whole of the Iraqi capital today.
Ordinary Iraqis wanted to bring it all to an end and tear down the statue of the dictator. Then the Americans prepared to drag him off his pedestal.
The symbolism of this moment just can't can't be overestimated. It's just, with all the ordinary Iraqis gathered here, this statue is going to be brought crashing down. The symbol of 25 brutal years being brought to an end. 25 years of hatred and rage as they jump up on the statue, shouting it, they're taking their shoes off, they're smashing it to pieces, they're waving their fists in the air, they're chanting death to Saddam.
This was the moment these young Iraqis, who'd known nothing else other than Saddam's tyranny, had waited their whole lives to see.
When we come back, a possible cameo appearance from Iraq's elusive leader.
The all-new 265 horsepower Nissan Maxima.
Danielle, can you find another place for your backpack?
Unlimited online bill paying.
Oh, really sorry.
Free from Bank of America.
Right there.
Higher standards.
Oscar winner Julie Andrews took on 2 kids in Mary Poppins. She tackled 7 kids in The Sound of Music. But now she's met her biggest challenge.
I'm Eloise. I'm 6.
She's the nanny to the most mischievous kid ever. But if anyone can turn things around...
What are you up to?
It's her.
I love you. I love you too.
A world premiere movie based on the beloved books. Eloise at the Plaza, Sunday, April 27th on ABC.
It's easy to take things for granted, like the Tennessee countryside, the beautiful lake, country cooking, and the friendliest of people. And living in Nashville, there's great music and pro football. Nashville just seems like a great big small town. Everybody here knows my dad, and it looks like a lot of people are getting to know me. I've met some of the bravest and most wonderful people in my work, and the moment I recognized what really gave my life meaning, I knew I could never, ever take it for granted.
At a time when car insurance rates are going up, Direct is one company holding our rates down. There's only one sure way for you to know if you're paying too much for car insurance. You have to shop around. We now have over 700 employees to give you the very best in customer service. So call us at Direct and take advantage of our new lower rates. We offer great service at a great price, low down payments, and low payments. Why pay more? Call Direct now. Save a lot of money when you call Direct.
Finally tonight, what may be the most important unresolved question of the war. Is Saddam Hussein still alive? Today, Abu Dhabi television broadcast these pictures of what appears to be Saddam and a small entourage outside a Baghdad mosque. The network says these scenes were recorded April 9th in a neighborhood considered extremely loyal to Saddam's regime. That squares with a separate account from New York Times reporter John Burns, who says 12 separate witnesses told him they saw Saddam there that day.
He said he was crying. He had tears rolling down his face. Well, he was crying for the Iraqi people, they said.
12 hours later, U.S. planes bombed the neighborhood and American troops assaulted the mosque. But they didn't find Saddam. And if indeed he was seen on April 9th, it means the 2 previous American attempts to get him failed, and at the very least, the video broadcast today clearly reopens the question of Saddam's fate. And that's our report for tonight. I'm Chris Bury in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
In times like these, thank goodness there's still a Nightline. Koppel brings a cool intelligence and perspective. American television MVP. Cheers to Ted Koppel. No wonder more and more Americans are turning to Nightline.
Sunday, Saddam's out, so who will control Iraq? George Stephanopoulos gets the answer exclusively from one of Saddam's biggest enemies, Ahmed Shalabi. And the president wants to give you a tax cut. But will Republican Party fights stop it from happening? Find out Sunday on This Week.
Charlton Heston in the Oscar-winning 10 Commandments, Easter Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
News 2 at WKRN.com.
Jimmy Kimmel!